Hi everyone, we're doing this fun live today to celebrate the Pride Month. Hello everyone who's joining in. We'll just wait for our special speaker to join us, Ashish. He's a very interesting personality. Just give me a couple of minutes. I'm trying to connect with him. Hey Ashish,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Couple of more minutes for everyone to join in.
Sure.
And then we'll start. Okay, so I think we have a bunch of people who already joined us. Hi, Chef Dhruv. Hello, everyone who's joined in. Thank you. I think more people will just keep coming in. And I have a very interesting person with me, Ashish. And I've actually written down something, a little something for his introduction. I hope it does justice to what Ashish is all about. So he calls himself self loving and self deprecating at the same time. He's a fashion enthusiast, he's a baker, he loves to travel, and hang in there, he's an engineer, that too with Twitter. So, Ashish Talwar presenting, ladies and gentlemen, whose journey from Delhi to Bangalore and now to San Francisco has been very, very interesting. And that's what he's going to be talking to us about. Thank you, Ashish, for being with us today. And San Francisco is a different time zone. It's early morning for him, and it works for us that he's a morning person. But thank you, Ashish, for doing this with us.
Thank you, Millie. Thank you for having me and giving me this chance to speak on Pride. And I don't mind speaking up early morning because anyway, I'm a morning person. So I'm very excited to talk to you and have some conversations and much
Great.
needed that we are facing right now, the Pride Month.
Yes, great. And I love your mug. Stands for what we're talking about. I also tried bringing in a little color in my outfit. Uh, So Ashish, this month is the Pride Month, and around the world there have been celebrations. There have been conversations about the LGBTQ community. A lot of events are taking place. But I want to start by understanding from you, what is this whole fuss about Pride and why Pride, and do we need a month or a day to celebrate this?
Yeah, so just going back a little, where it all started back in 1969, when the Stonewall Riot happened on June 29th,
Right.
and trans people in New York demanded for equal rights, and that's when it all started and blew up, and people started to come out, and they were demanding for equality and justice. That is where the riots and the movement started back in 1969. So
Right.
with that, to commemorate over the period of time, we have named June as the Pride Month. But Pride
Okay.
Month, you see, it's not just 1 month, it is the entire year. You don't need one day to celebrate Pride.
Right.
Pride is what you feel, and Pride is something what you demonstrate. So it is a symbol of how the sexual and gender minorities have struggled over the period of time. And today, when we say we are celebrating Pride, what we mean by celebrating Pride is that we are asking for visibility. We are asking that exist. We are showing that there are different gender minorities and there are different sexual minorities in different parts of society. And what we are asking by celebrating Pride is that we exist and we want to be included in the part of the society. We want to be
Right.
included in the system, and we want equal rights.
Okay. And talking about equal rights, talking about this an entire community which exists, I want to know a little about your journey. You are currently in San Francisco. How are things there? What kind of setup and situation you grew up here in India? How is it different from San Francisco? Tell us about your journey.
Yeah, so I've been living in India almost whole my life until 2018. I recently migrated to the US. So until I was living in Delhi or Bangalore, it was a very oppressive environment for me. And even growing up, being a very femboy in school or college, I was called so many homophobic slurs, or I was not treated
Bullied,
equally. Yeah, so
bullied
every
since
I was struggling as a boy. Like, what do you expect from a 9-year-old boy to understand things, to mingle with not with girls or with boys, or to just to play basketball, for example. So it was a different feeling, and it was a very hard time back in my childhood, where I was forced to be somebody where I was what I was not. So. Um, and as soon as I started growing up, I realized that this is not me, and I don't fit in that society.
then.
So, and I started developing resilience over the period of time that, okay, I don't want to fit in. I don't belong here, and I don't want to be included. I'm happy standing out, and I'm happy, being my own personal self instead of being someone who I am not. So this
Right.
is where I started, and then I passed my college, and it was again same thing. And then I joined companies. So the companies also in India are also not very supportive. I feel like
So they're
they don't
discriminative of your
not
orientation.
just not just discrimination. They don't even want to talk about LGBTQ policies. What you see right now, what is
Yeah.
happening, yeah, like it is coming after when Supreme Court has just finally said, okay, we are decriminalizing homosexuality. But before
Right.
that, then nobody even bothered. Like suddenly, companies woke up one day and they decided to put pride flags, and they started to commercialize the whole community into their
Yeah.
brand. That is what happened in India. Like, and it
I
is
think
still.
it's sort of become a marketing event now for
Yeah,
brands to do mileage of it.
totally. And like when I was working with my company, I was like, you are celebrating Women's Day, you are celebrating, I don't know, so many days. What about LGBTQ pride? What about this? What about that? And like people are like, oh, I think there are no LGBTQ people in our country, in our company. And like this is
They
negligence. You
probably don't know what the reality is.
want to see what the reality is, right? So then it was like, then I joined Twitter back in 2016, and with Twitter, it all like it gave me a little confidence because the company is not India-based company, and the people are
Right.
very supportive and people are inclusive. So that is when I started to engage more with people and try to
At your
be
workplace.
at workplace. Yes, so at
Okay.
workplace, I always wanted to have a diverse workplace where
Right.
I welcome every day, where I am welcome to carry my
Yeah.
true self every day. So this is where I was like, okay, like it was a challenge to even start in India as well. So, but it went fine now. But then I started to make some policies and work with the HR back in 2016 to 2018 with Twitter, and then slowly and slowly migrated. And it was a long journey, but I feel that
Right.
it was worth it, that I could create some queer spaces for people around me. So
Okay.
yeah, and then after that, I moved to San Francisco, and the life has been completely different. Like I feel that I'm very privileged here. That whatever
Lot
of
of cultural differences you, I'm sure, will find between San Francisco and back home here in India.
Yeah, there are a lot of cultural differences. Yes. Like there is no comparison. Like people are very accepting. You are not treated like an outcast. Like I mean, I am still very privileged when I say that, because I am living in a certain part of the society in San Francisco,
Right.
which is. But if I go to certain states in the Midwest, where the oppression is still there, but the
Right.
laws, the policies in this country are protecting me. Of course, for the who we must not be named here, I know. So, but the things are slowly getting better for me, and moving to San Francisco has definitely changed my life over the period of time.
So, was it a conscious decision to move to San Francisco, not just in terms of your professional growth, but you felt discriminated back here, and that's why you thought life would be better in US?
Yeah, I think I always wanted to be a part of the inclusive society, and I thought it's not my job to find like or to to fight for struggle back in India. Like I also want to have my. I know I'm very selfish when I say that, but this is the ground reality for me. I want to have kids, and if I wait and if I want to get married in India, like how many years I'm gonna do that?
Yeah.
I am not a protester. I am not going to go and fight with the government, which is going to take another 25 years have, to have me a kid or to have me a husband. I'm like, no,
Right.
screw you. I am going to make my own life. I'm going to move out. And then that's when I decided, like, okay, like, what all options I have. So the US comes as the first option for me because of course the policies, and then it also aligned with the professional career that I'm right now in. I'm an engineer, so I wanted to be in a space where I can grow professionally as well, and my team is also in San Francisco. So that is when everything came together, and I decided, okay, why not? If this is happening,
Yeah.
I can move to San Francisco.
So it worked well both professionally and personally for you.
Yes.
Okay. So coming back to your personal journey a little back a bit more, when did you, what was the response of your family, and how did you come out to them, to your friends, to your family? How did it go about?
Oh, so my coming out was not at all planned. So
Okay.
this was funny. I was dating a boy back in 2015, and I was dumped and cheated on. So I felt very rejected. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like nobody can reject me like this. Like this was very kid.
Yeah.
I was like, in that moment, I decided to call my sister, and like I told her like, hey, do you know what gay is? Do you know what being queer is? And I'm gay. And she was like, what the fuck are you saying? How is that
Yeah.
possible? We have expectations from you. We want like family and all of that. Like still I can have that. But it
Right.
is like it is not going to be with the woman, it is going to be with the man. So this
Right.
is when it was like, no, this is not going to happen. And like, see, listen, I'm going to tell my parents today evening.
Huh.
If I have your support or not, I'm going to tell them. So this is like
Okay.
in that evening when everybody came back home from work. It was a very regular, normal work day,
Uh,
and we all were sitting, and I was like, okay, can I switch off the TV? And I was like, okay, now do you know what gay is? And my parents are like so orthodox, like they don't even know what being gay is. And the first question my dad asked me was like, okay, do not tell anyone, because he confused me with that eunuch, and he was like, if you tell anybody, they're gonna take you away. And I'm like,
take you
this
away.
kind of the visibility that queer people in our country have. They are going
Yeah.
to compare with transgenders or gays. Like this whole thing is very blurred in like it
Yeah.
with respect to my parents. So it
Yeah.
took a lot of time for me to educate them, and I don't think so they're still accepting. But because the main concern is like I they don't want me to be single forever. So that has been the main concern. But it was very empowering to also educate them over
Okay.
the period of time, and it took a
The
lot of time.
education starts at home, like
Exactly.
everyone says. So I'm asking this because a lot of people, because of the fear of society, fear of non-acceptance, even if they want to come out, they're not able to come out. So I think after
Yeah.
hearing this story, probably they'll feel encouraged to accept who they are, because I think but gender has got a lot to do with expression also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
rather than
I,
just putting and demarcating things in boxes as lesbians, genders, gays, transgenders, it's also about your expression.
yeah.
So,
Exactly.
what do you have to say about that?
I would say like whoever is watching us right now, like I would say that never ever prepare to come out. Like it's not something which is going to happen in a very planned way, or it's not going to happen like, okay, I'm going to happen it on one day. Like
Right,
have discussions with yourself, accept yourself first, and then maybe you can decide that you want to come out over a period of time, or you don't even want to come out. Do not come out. It's your journey. You don't need to
right,
come like but just be comfortable with your own identity and expression. And your when you say gender expression, I would say gender expression is something where we express how we demonstrate our gender, right? Like
hmm,
how we are feeling on a certain day, and on the base of our societal roles that the society has
right,
made for us, right?
right.
So it be one day when I'm feeling very masculine, depending upon like what my chromosomes or what my hormones are telling me on a particular day. Or
Yeah.
it could be a very rainy day where I'm going on a date and I want to wear heels. So it could be anything. It could be like how you want to demonstrate your gender, depending upon your mood, depending upon your attitude, or depending upon how the way you want to feel on a certain day.
Yeah, whether it's a more metrosexual look or maybe something which is more feminine, I think it's all about mood, how you're feeling. Like how
Yeah,
with the women also, I think sometimes they feel androgynous and we just want to
yeah,
dress up in a certain way. It's entirely about mood and how you feel, like you said.
yeah, yeah,
I think how you're expressing yourself has got nothing to do with the gender. Then I would say it's more about how you feel about things in a certain way.
yeah.
And Sachit here is asking if you are single, and Ritika is saying very much. Would you like to answer that?
We'll take the question out of the
Okay, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But I've been like following you on Instagram, and I sort of stalked you and looked at all your posts. And you're out there, you're outspoken, very explicit about your sexuality. You've spoken about things such as bullying, toxic masculinity, sexual patriarchy. So, I mean, I want to know a little more about these things because a lot of us probably, we are illiterate, and that's our fault because we don't understand those things.
Yeah, yeah. When I talk about like toxic masculinity, I want to say that like men are being conditioned
Right.
whole their like throughout their childhood. Even like for example, me, like I was conditioned in a way to grow up where I am not allowed to cry, where I am not allowed to be submissive, where I'm not allowed to wear makeup, or where I'm not allowed to do anything which breaks gender norms.
Feminine makes you look more
Yeah,
feminine.
feminine, or which makes any norm that the gender role for a man has been decided by the society.
Yeah.
So that is when I was like, no, this is something very wrong, and this is where I am lying to my own self, right? So
Yeah.
this is my own self, and this is becoming toxic to my own identity. So when I say toxic masculinity, I feel that it is very toxic for men to not follow to follow all the gender norms and create a toxic environment for themselves and for the
Yeah.
society around them. So that is when this whole thing was coming around in place for me, and I was like, no, this is not me, and I'm going to challenge it.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay for men to cry. It's okay for them to dress in a certain manner. I think we don't have to make the men around us believe that they should be in a certain manner. And same for women also. I think
Yes.
today's time it's all about fluidity, breaking the barriers, and
Yeah.
just be accepting of whoever is around us.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot say boys will be boys every time, and just like I feel that also very toxic things to say boys will be boys, and you can get away
Yeah.
with whatever bullshit that you have to put around you. This.
And also sexual patriarchy. I just found that very interesting.
Yeah, the sexual patriarchy is like again relating to toxic masculinity, right? Like you are not like for example, men are supposed to be the head of the family. A patriarchal society where it's dictating like, okay, men are supposed to be the head of the family, and I'm
Huh.
like, why? Women can also be the head of the family, and men can
Yeah.
contribute in the women are contributing, right? So this is all what has been taught to us since our childhood, and whatever the patriarchy system in India or in any society is teaching us, and we are following it like blindly. Like who tells us to do this, right? This is this is
Yeah.
this is being told to us. Like if you are
Huh.
conditioning us in a different way, we'll be following something different, right? So that
Yeah.
is one of the major cultural differences I see in the kids living in the US. Like the parents are teaching them
Hmm.
like certain values where in India we don't even talk about those things.
Yeah. That sensitization is not there, I think, here in India,
Yeah,
whether we talk about sex education or we talk about LGBTQ community, we're made to believe that they are outcasts, they should be looked in a certain manner, that
yeah.
it's a disease and this can be cured.
I don't know, like in India, if you talk to like I don't know if there is a textbook which says what is the difference between gender and sex, like even the basics, like when we
Right.
talk what what is your gender and what is your sex, they said this did like even if you fill any form, it just says sex, like
Yeah.
what gender, what about how you're feeling? Like there is no mention of it anywhere. So this is
Yeah.
where the basic and the groundwork is like missing.
Missing. I think one progress that we've made is now that we're filling out applications and all. So earlier it was when we had to choose gender, it was only male, female. Now there's an option for third gender also.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of
Yeah.
government application forms.
Supreme Court of India like made transgenders as the third gender of the country.
Third gender.
But
Yeah.
like even if like when we talk about calling them third gender, it doesn't give them any basic rights. It has
Yeah.
not been a call for injustice like every time. For example, right now in the present times, and when you talk about the COVID and the pandemic that we are going right now, and when transgender people are going to a ward, like for example, a trans woman is sitting amongst like you know how the hospital capacity is right now, and a trans woman try to get admitted in a hospital or in a ward where the woman around her will be like, oh my god, we want a real woman, we don't want a trans woman to be staying in the same, and the doctors also like agreeing to that and refusing them the treatments, which is right now in our country, which is really really sad. Like
Yeah, you have told me about some horrible stories of your friends, how they were being discriminated in the time of this pandemic, and they were
yeah
being denied treatment because of their gender or their orientation.
yeah so this is like I know some of my friends like who are trans and who were not allowed to be a part of a certain section of the society from a very long time. Like for example, when I remember inviting a certain friends of mine to some event back in India it was a Pride panel back in 2018. And what happened was they were stopped at the gate. They were not allowed to enter. This is one of the 5-star hotels, and they stopped them at the gate. Like, we are not going to let you enter. Just because they look different, they act different, or they sound different, that doesn't mean you are going to reject them. That is what was happening. And now when you see that hotel, it is like saying, oh my god, we are LGBTQ inclusive. They are raising a rainbow flag and everything, just to fit in, just to say that they are they
I
are
think that's what I said. It's become more of a marketing gimmick
yeah.
now.
That
Everybody
is
wants to be seen. It's a calendar event that brands wants to tick off that
yeah that
we're doing this. We stand for these rights, even though their own employees, their own staff may not be sensitized towards those things. So I think rather than celebrating, sensitizing people, like Hitesh had mentioned here, that how this is something which should be a part of textbooks also. So I want
yeah
to ask you a couple of solutions which you think can be proposed to the government or to the other organizations which should be done, should be undertaken.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about the textbook, we need to really incorporate basic sex education in our curriculum.
Yeah.
And basic sex education, I want when I'm reading that chapter of biology in my 8th standard, I want to know what is the difference between sex and gender. That is where the government or the textbooks should start. Like they right now what is being dictating in textbook is very normative. It is just very binary, and it is just dictating two genders, like, and it is just saying, okay, you are allowed to be only man or a female. That is what happened to me back in my school. I'm like, okay, this is just male and this is just female. Where do I fit in? Like, I don't fit in both of them. Like, what am I when I'm like, and the awareness was so low. The internet was not there. So for me to even realize that I'm queer or I'm gender queer, I'm gender fluid, like these terms, like these are like an urban myth, like which has come now for me. Back, it was like so confusing.
Alien terms.
I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like, I don't know who am I? I don't know what is happening. So for a child who is growing up, these things are very very important, and these things are need to be taught in the textbooks. Like, if you are telling us like X and Y chromosomes, just tell us X Y X as well, which is also needed, which is there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that conditioning starts from the beginning. It's not something which can be done overnight.
Yes,
So
that is
having to
correct.
study all of those things, it's important. And Rupa Auntie was asking us, the hotel that you mentioned, was it Kitty Soup?
I
I think
anyone.
yeah. But yeah, you guys can keep sending in your questions. We'll try to incorporate them in the conversations, whatever you might have. And the other thing, Ashish, you are, like I said, very open and expressive about, your sexuality and what you stand for in general. So, whether it be makeup, whether it be the kind of clothes we see in the fashion industry, the trend these days is more towards gender neutral fashion.
Hmm.
Men, celebrities also have been wearing skirts, men been wearing skirts, they've been putting makeup, they've been putting nail paints, and they're not afraid to do that. Similarly, the way women have been endorsing a more androgynous look. You're a fashion enthusiast, you love doing these things. Tell me a little about how are things in the fashion industry.
I feel that it is also to come when you talk about like gender fluidity in fashion. It is coming from the fact that how you are feeling to demonstrate your fashion or your look on a particular day, right? Like for example, you said like so a lot of celebrities are doing it. I don't know what do they really understand what is going on behind this and what is the
Right.
idea. Androgyny is like something when you are challenging the norms of your societal gender and you are
Right.
challenging the construct that you were born in, and you want to encompass it and you want to be someone or you want to try to portray something that you are
Hmm.
not, right? And that is when you are challenging the fashion as well. So when I am wearing a heels on a particular day, I'm making sure that I'm confident enough, and I'm making sure that if someone is going to call me a faggot on the road, I will be able to take it, right?
Hmm.
So if you are trying to be fluid in your fashion, like my advice to you would be like, do not care about what people have to say to you, because of course you will be challenging everyone
Yeah.
around you when you will be wearing a heels, or if, for example, a woman will be dressing very butch, and you will be called.
I think at least with Ranveer Singh flaunting skirts or Arjun Kapoor wearing heels, at least these things have come to common part.
These people are very privileged. They are not called
Yeah.
anything. So the same homophobes which will be calling on me or anyone around me who is not like
Huh.
as privileged as Ranveer Singh or Arjun Kapoor, they will be like, oh
Absolutely.
my God, these are fashion icons and all of that. And when a same guy like me or anybody in my community will be wearing a heel or a skirt, these same guys will be, coming after them. So I
But
don't
but
know.
I feel if at least celebrities are donning these kind of outfits, at least that some amount of awareness would be created vis-a-vis absolute lack of any reference. At least one can say that, oh, Ranveer Singh wore it, or Arjun Kapoor wore something. So that awareness, do you think celebrities help create that some sort of awareness? I'm not saying it's necessarily positive or it's going to bring about some kind of change, but
Yeah.
maybe something.
Yeah, I think I would acknowledge like whatever is happening on the androgyny front from the all these celebrities, because it also sensitizes the people around us.
Hmm.
It actually starting somewhere instead of not having anything, right? So it is definitely better that we are having popular faces like Ranveer Singh telling us like, or being in a garment which is like breaking all the gender norms, and it is telling people that it is okay. But
Right.
what I am trying to tell you is that, like, just do not blindly follow the icons. uh,
Okay.
if you are celebrating an icon, have the courage to
Mhm.
celebrate, have the courage to accept a normal
Right.
person around you as well. This is where
Right.
the fashion is not just Bollywood industry. The fashion
Yeah.
is what you feel every day, what people around you are feeling every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. And everybody here is loving your mug. They've been commenting on your mug. But I have some interesting questions which I would like to take. And Ritika is saying that I should ask you how people should address the LGBTQ community, because I think sometimes we are unaware, and maybe it's our lack of ignorance that we may use wrong terminology, or we try to be extra cautious and careful. So I think this is what you mean, Ritika. So if Ashish, you can address that.
Yeah, thank you, Ritika, for that question. I feel like when you are talking to an LGBTQ person, the first thing that you should be doing, like, do not judge. Like, if you know it for the fact that it's okay, but if you don't know it, do not even try to ask them. Like, if
Right.
let give them the space to come out to you or tell them about yourself. Do
Hmm.
not even approach that question directly. Oh, are you gay? Like, do not ever do that. This is
Yeah.
very, like, do not even like try to create an environment which is very which is dangerous, or which could harm them in a certain way. So do not
Hmm.
do that. And the second thing, if you know somebody, like, the first thing that I do personally is ask them their pronouns. Like pronouns is like the very basic education, like which how you address a certain person, right? So just ask them, what are your pronouns? Like, how do you want me to call you? Like, it could be he,
Okay.
him, she, her, or it could be they, them. Some people are gender neutral,
Okay.
right? So this
Okay.
is which also needs to be included in our textbooks. Going back, like the question that you said,
Yeah, I mean, I never knew about something like this, so I'm glad you
yeah.
telling us about these things.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to be an ally to an LGBTQ community, like you, these are the basic two things that I would start with. Give them an
Right.
environment. You don't, you are not creating an environment where you are, you know, doing something derogatory, or you are giving them a feeling which is very, very harmful to them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
do not even try so hard to make them feel included, because it
Right.
will come off the sympathy, right? So that is very, very basic. And the next step would be, when you try to educate yourself, go
Huh.
online, read all the homonormative literature, or read about queer people in the industry, in the fashion. There are so many people, right, who are
Yeah.
creating. So go out, educate yourself, have a list of the pronouns, or like read about how you want to address a certain people. So
I
then,
think education here is the key.
yeah, and understand the difference between gender roles, understand the difference between gender expression, understand how it is okay not to be masculine every day, or how it is or not okay to be feminine every day. So these are the basic things that I would just say that you should be doing when you approach an LGBTQ person around you.
And if somebody is open about their orientation, is it okay to use terms such as gay, that so and so is gay or so and so is lesbian? Is that okay? Will it be offensive? Like some of us do feel that. Sorry, I may sound very ignorant, but it's a genuine question which I'm sure a lot of people here face.
I mean, this is also when you say somebody is gay, you are judging someone's sexual orientation. Sexual
Right.
orientation is also lying on a spectrum, right? It
Yeah.
it is not just very like, okay, you are gay, straight, and you are bisexual. It is not like that. Like, it is a wide range of a spectrum where somebody might be fitting in. So I think ask. There's no
Okay.
harm, like. And if you are like, but there is no point, like, if you are introducing someone, like I ask you, Millie, like, do I introduce as you as a straight woman? I don't never do that, right?
Mhm.
So do not like say that, okay, Ashish is a gay man. Like, no, you don't need to say that. Like,
It's
this
just
is this,
Ashish. You're
this is
Ashish. That's about it.
like my suffix is not gay, right? Or my prefix is not gay. I am just Ashish. Like, you don't need to say that I am gay. I'm like, I am very much visibly gay, and it's okay. And you're very visibly straight, and it is okay. Just do not make a big deal about it.
Okay, okay, we have some more questions. Night Bunny is asking us, how should I respond to heterosexual friends or co-workers who feel negatively about a person who's lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender in our office or in our residence hall?
Yeah, I think I already answered that question. But
Yeah.
if somebody around you is like being very homophobic, or like behaving like a very, in a very weird manner, the first thing that you could try to tell him is like, go educate yourself. Like, these
Mhm.
people matter. Like, they are like basic human beings like us, and do not try to undermine, or do not try to say any derogatory slurs
Huh.
in front of me, at least. Like, if somebody is like doing that in front of me, like, personally, I would just tell them, hey, listen, you accept them, but do not try to pass derogatory comments in front of me. And if you
It's
don't want
okay.
to accept it, at least be aware of the fact that these are also basic human beings, and you need to be very careful when you approach these topics.
Okay. And somebody is also asking, is it okay to be in a relationship with a person who's not open to society? Maybe one partner is open about orientation, the other is not. I think that's what you mean.
Yeah, I think it is also very on a very personal level. Like, if you want to date a person who is not open to the society, I think it is okay. Like,
Hmm.
it is the society. I'm not asking everybody to come out. It is just your prerogative. It is just your choice if you want to come out to the society or to your family. But if you are not coming out, or if you are not telling everyone that you are gay, but and you are in a relationship, be meaningful, or be aware of the fact that you are not going to harm anybody. You are not
Hmm.
going to end up marrying a girl after a while, or you're not going to end up marrying a man after a while if you are a
Yeah.
queer woman. So be aware of those facts, that it is okay. It is okay not to come out. But if you're not coming out, come out for yourself. You know, when I say come out, you are letting in, is mostly what we feel,
Then,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And Neha has asked actually a very relevant question, that are there any community pages, websites, or blogs we can read to learn more about how we can educate ourselves and our parents about the LGBTQ community?
Yes, there are a lot of LGBTQ blogs, and like a lot of people who are activists. Like the one of the person that I personally follow is not queer, but she is very inspirational, I feel, and who talks a lot about the community is Jamila Jamal. So if you want to
Okay.
follow, she's very
Jamila, can you
Jamila.
spell that out?
It's Jamila Jamal.
Jamila Jamal. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she speaks a lot about the community, like, and
Okay.
all her posts, like recently, yesterday also she posted, if you go to her Instagram page, and she is posting about all those queer people who you must follow. So like, I think, I may not know a lot of people, but I think she has list down all of those people you
All
should
of
be,
this.
which are very, very inspirational. And there are a lot of LGBTQ blogs that you can follow online. I can share the link after this live,
Yeah,
maybe.
it'll be great if you can share the link and I can share it with everybody who's tuned in here. I think,
Yeah.
because I think we established that education is the most important thing here.
Yes.
Right. So, I think Neha already knows about her, so that's great, Neha. You're in San Francisco amidst the lockdown, but it's also the Pride Month. So, what all have you been doing?
Oh, I have not been doing anything for the Pride, because, especially because of the reason that we are in a lockdown, and on top of that, the Pride has not been a celebration here, because of what has happened recently regarding the Black lives. So all the movement has gone to a little standstill, and I think that is okay, because
Mhm.
there are various intersections we need to talk about when we say Pride, like, like Black trans lives, Black queer trans lives.
Right.
So so there's nothing to feel, there's nothing to celebrate about it right now, or there is nothing to feel, that there's not a need right now, that I feel very happy to celebrate Pride. And Pride is not just one day, it is every day, right? So
Every
it
day.
could be one day where I'm also very low. So the Pride month, June, is just, one excuse to celebrate it. So I have not been doing anything as such for the Pride month, but I've just been actively involved on all these social media and just talking about it. That is what I'm doing. And
And back in India, were you involved in with any of these organizations, or did you celebrate the Pride month here?
Pride month was not a thing in India. I'm telling you very honestly, but until 2018, it was nothing. Like, after that, like, whole this urban myth picked up of celebrating Pride in India, Pride month in India, like, because Pride
Uh,
has not been a celebration in India like for a very long time until 2018. Pride has always been a protest, and there is a very big difference in how we celebrate or how we do Pride walks in India. It was always asking for equal right. It was always asking for visibility. It was always asking or telling people that,
huh.
there are certain sections of the society which needs justice. So that is how the Pride in India was. Like, it is not like how privileged this US economy is.
But talking and interacting with your friends back here in India, you think things have changed or are improving, if not at least changed? We are working towards that direction, especially after the ruling by the Supreme Court.
Yes, I think definitely the talks or the conversations have started, and they are leading us in a way where people have started to come out, and they're being more visible, and there is no fear of being arrested. Like, the ultimate fear of, like, which was holding people back in the closets were like Section 377, which were criminalizing
Yeah,
sex sexual activities.
homosexuality. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, actually, this is the very difference. When we say Section 377 was criminalizing homosexuality, no, it was not criminalizing homosexuality. It was predominantly targeting those sections of the society which were engaged in same sex. It could be a man or a woman which are engaged in a non-vaginal intercourse as well, and they could also be punished with that. So
Okay,
it
so it
was an
was more about the act.
Yeah, it was an anti-sodomy law which has been
Okay.
taken down. It doesn't guarantee, like equal rights for the LGBTQ community. It has not yet.
Okay. It was an archaic British era law, which
Yeah,
was, I think, taken out by Britain also several years ago.
it
So it was
it
high
was
time,
retained like a long time ago, but
long time
India,
ago.
India carried it forward. Yeah.
Yeah, but I hope we work towards this. And a lot of people are asking about your drag persona. What is your drag persona?
Not found my drag persona yet, but I think my drag persona, if I have to find or if I have to act, I think it will be very Indian. I will choose something very Indian, not something which is taking away from my culture. So it will be very, very Indian. I feel so.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that would be interesting. And you guys can still keep sending in your questions. I'm going to actually I've listed Amanda's listed down a bunch of very interesting rapid fire questions which she wants me to ask you, Ashish. So I think you should just get ready before I pounce you with those questions.
So it is
So
style coquettes.
sorry.
I said it's coffee with style coquettes.
Coffee with style crickets, absolutely. So let's start and we begin with your rapid fire now. So, what is the most overrated term in gay community?
Meetha,
Meetha, okay. One fashion trend you just don't understand.
Crocs.
Okay. Um, briefs, boxers, or thongs?
I think it depends on my day or my night, I feel. But on a very given day, I think it'll be briefs. Yeah.
Briefs, okay. Checks or stripes?
Checks.
Checks, okay. Nice or naughty?
Naughty, definitely.
Ah, okay. Texting or FaceTime?
FaceTime.
Okay. Morning or night?
Morning.
Okay. Uh, if you were a superhero, what power would you like to possess?
I think I will be a superwoman. I won't be a superhero.
Oh, absolutely. And what power would you like to possess?
The power, I think I have never thought about it. Superpower, maybe I would want to have a superpower to get, have a cloak of Harry Potter where I can go invisible, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Visual stimulation for the win. Amazing. Okay. My last question. I feel pride when.
So I think pride is not just one day. Pride to me personally is the celebration of my identity by choosing to stand for Operation Vocally, by carrying my true self everywhere, every day with no apologies. And I, as a cisgender queer gay man, is very, very unapologetic of my identity. And I feel that pride doesn't happen just one day. It is all the year
Hmm.
round.
Absolutely. Any other questions, guys, quickly before we wrap up? Please do send that. And Ashish, quick last comments from you. Is there something you would like to tell people out there?
I think I would like to tell everybody that don't try so hard to fit in. That is the mantra that I would just convey to everybody. If you don't fit in, stand out, and you will be better you will be better without everybody else.
I agree. I mean, when I was reading about you, I mean, I couldn't imagine you being an engineer at Twitter. I mean, you have a different persona altogether when I look at you on social media. And but yeah, you are right. It's important to break away from the molds and not just think about things in a certain manner. Okay,
Yeah.
so Nikita is asking the craziest pickup line used on you and by you.
Oh, the craziest pickup line. I don't know if it counts as a pickup line. This one guy asked my number while he was standing in next in queue in back in India in like Big Bazaar, and he was like following me everywhere in the market, and he was like just like making sure that he's standing next to me. So that was, I think, what was a very cute for me, where he was like, "Can I ask your number?" Like, "Hey, dude, I don't even know your name." Okay,
And crazy pickup line used by you.
I don't think so. I do that.
Others do that than you.
Yeah.
And we still dodging the question about whether you are single or not.
That let's just keep that as a mystery.
Okay, mystery always adds value and charm. Okay,
Yeah.
so here Kumar is asking, you feel this decade gay marriage will be legalized in India?
I'm sorry to say that to you, darling. It won't be. Like
Why?
I don't want to sound very pessimistic, but I feel like what the government is right now, like
Hmm.
even basic rights for trans people are not entitled. So I don't even want to get married if the trans people are not treated equally in my country. If I just don't want to that very basic gay man who is just very concerned about his own rights. And when you say that, like gay rights, I'm sorry, like even in India trans people started that. So let's just be very mindful, and let's just be very
Yeah.
respectful that when you are saying someone, or when you are saying someone chakka or meetha, these are the only people. And because of that, in our community, in the LGBTQ community as well, the gay men who are standing right out there and like wearing their heels and strutting in on the streets in India, you should be very mindful and thankful to all of these people who are making these possible for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And Ankit is asking, how do you find Tinder India's video on Pride celebration? Have you
I
seen that?
haven't seen it. Yeah.
Okay, so he hasn't seen that. And Ritika is asking Bangalore or San Francisco.
I think if Ritika comes to San Francisco, then it'll be like equal. So San Francisco.
I think that's what Ritika wanted to hear, and that's why she asked this question.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Danny wants to ask a question. Danny, are you asking a question? You said you want to ask a question. So we'll just wait for Danny to ask his question if he is, and anybody else who wants to say anything. Sachet wants to be your drag partner. So that's there. Okay, I don't know if Danny is asking. But thank you, Ashish. It was so much fun talking to you, and it wasn't just about asking you questions, but I think in the process, I also educated myself. Okay, Vishwi has a question. Do you think there's a genuine shift towards how the LGBTQ plus are portrayed in the film industry? I think she's referring to the Bollywood film industry or Hollywood, I don't know, but in general, if you could answer, Ashish.
Yeah, I think the representation in the film industry over the period of time or in the past has been very, very bad, and the gay people
Yeah,
are someone who are just feminine and who act in a
made
certain.
fun of.
Yeah, so I think it has been a very need to mainstream the LGBTQ community, so that people who are watching big screens, they can also know, like, like it is also a part of the society. And I think the last film that I saw was I don't remember the name of that movie, the Ayushmann Khurrana movie, which was trying to touch the subject of the Section 377, and was
Yeah,
trying
the
to mainstream.
gay couple. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot. Yeah.
that has started, but I don't know, like, if it has bring any change, or it has, if a lot of work needs to be done on that front as well. But we need a lot of representation in the mass media and the film industry, where we are sensitized and where we are mainstreamed, which could
I
challenge the
think the
norm.
good thing about that film was at least those men were the protagonists. Usually, gay, lesbian, these kind of people
Yeah,
are just
yeah,
on side roles and shown in a certain manner. But here, the protagonists of the film were these two men, and we didn't essentially have a heroine in that film. So I
yeah,
think that is definitely a milestone.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And a mainstream hero also doing that film. Shubh Mangal Zada Savdhan. Yeah.
yeah. So
Right.
it was definitely challenging the normative of our heteronormative society, right? So,
Right.
and I like that movie for the fact that at least two men came together to kiss on the screen, and
Yeah.
making this whole big thing about two men kissing each other go away. So at
Right.
least when maybe, so people would not be like, oh my God, two men are kissing. So
Yeah, yeah. And that was a mainstream Bollywood film, not even like an indie kind of film.
yeah,
Okay, such a thing is it difficult to find love when you're queer in India?
it is difficult to find love everywhere. queer, and it's not difficult. It is difficult to find love, even if you are queer or not queer, I feel.
Absolutely. I think that's very well put. Sachin, I hope that answers your question. I hope you found your love.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of performative support from brands all over the world during the Pride Month. Yeah, Vishwi, we just discussed that how it's just become a marketing gimmick now. It's no genuine support, but it's more to do because everybody's doing. You just want to do that, and you just want to be a part of the whole ecosystem without even really understanding that. Right. Okay. Anything on gay mental health?
Oh, definitely. That's a very, very good question, Kumar. Thank you for asking that question. I feel that mental health in India is a very, very, least touched upon topic, even if like gay or straight. It
Yeah.
like people want to go to a mental health talk about their
Right.
mind or talk about what they are feeling or talk about their depression. So because I feel it's also to be concerned connected with a kind of a taboo in our country. Like if you go to a mental health therapist, like you would be
Yeah.
treated like has mental issues, right?
Yeah,
Like
if
even
you
my
see a shrink, you're sort of looked down upon, and mental health is not even looked upon as an issue.
yeah, my mom has been like that, and like she like even my mom would be like, oh my god, she has mental health issues, she might be like a little
पागल
abnormal,
हो गए हैं.
पागल हो गई है and all of that. I'm like, you don't know like what people are going through, like what people,
Yeah,
what struggles they have, or what kind of issues they are going through right now. So if you want to go to a therapist or if you want to have a counselor, just have it. Like, do not even try
yeah,
to let anyone tell you otherwise. And there are
yeah,
so many mental health resources available and so many helplines, especially for the queer people or especially for the trans community who are telling people like how to deal in a certain scenario. And I can share you the links on your page
yeah.
after.
I think that'll be great, and I can share it. And Vishesh has something to say, which is there is much more awareness about homosexuality, but we need to also focus and create awareness on BTQIA of LGBTQI.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I understand that question.
Yeah, Vishesh probably can tell us even I'm not too sure about this. He's asking for thoughts on BTQIA.
Yeah, so taking out the gay from LGBTQIA, I think yes, that is also very, very much needed because people just only talk about gay men or being gay, which is, I also said before, like all these basic queens strutting in the streets, like who are gays, and they don't want to acknowledge or talk about like the struggles of the other members of the community. And it is not just like it is not only limited to BTQIA. It is again a spectrum. It could be intersex, it could be asexual, it could be androgynous, it could be anything. So when you are talking about gay rights, be meaningful and be mindful about other people as well in the community.
Okay. Asexuals, aromatics, that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Great. So I think we've had a very interesting conversation today, which is, I think, just a starting point, tip of the iceberg. And I think the important takeaway today is that we should all educate ourselves about this, and that's the way forward. Thank you, Ashish. It was a wonderful. Okay, workout routine. Okay, last question.
Oh,
What is your workout?
in this pandemic, I haven't been working out too much, but recently I bought these home workout machine and I'm starting to do some workout. So just the full
Okay.
body home, do some basic cardio, run, go out for a run or something. That's what I'm doing because it's not possible to go to a gym and the gym there will be closed, I think, for the entire year.
Okay, I think the ones who are interested to look at all of those workout routines can probably follow Ashish on his Instagram. There is some really interesting content out there.
Not an influencer to follow for fitness because I myself a lot. So if there are better people out there, you might want to follow for this thing. I am not the one you should be taking fitness because I might just
No,
out.
but not just fitness. I think the other things also that you post, share about, but it's interesting and it's inspirational also. I would say in a way. It's
Yeah.
not just about visual content that you're putting out there. So it's good to know that there is somebody who's so open and out there. It just encourages a lot of us other people as well.
Thank you so much. And I feel that as a square South Asian, the brown representation of the minorities is also very important
Okay.
on the app. So that is where which motivates me to be very out and visible and talk about all of these things as a brown gay person.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think we're adding more dimensions. It's not just about being from LGBT community. It's also whether you're black, whether you're brown, and so many other things also.
Yeah,
Whether
yeah,
you're a white gay man, whether you're a brown gay man. I think a
yeah.
lot of those dynamics change.
There's so many intersections that you can touch upon,
Yeah.
and which is what I'm trying to do through my page and trying to reach out to people.
Absolutely. So, guys, you should definitely follow him. And I'm going to share the resources which Ashish will share with me, people who we can look up to educate ourselves and also on mental health. We'll share it on our blog. Thank you, Ashish. You've been absolutely wonderful. We've been doing this wellness hour through the lockdown. And this by far has been the most interesting conversation that I have particularly enjoyed. And I'm not just saying that to butter you up, but it was an educating session for me also. So
Thank you so
thank you for doing that, waking up so early. You've traveled for so many hours. You got back to San Francisco only last night. So I really have to thank and acknowledge you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
And
having me.
and to Ritika actually for telling us and introducing us to you. So thank you, Ritika.
Thank you, Ritika. I miss you.
You made her day by saying what she wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But thank you, Ashish. Have a great day, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.